Hello and welcome to another episode of Crypto Funnel. We're here to help you shoot your Web3 project to the moon and beyond. My name is Julieta Ose and I'll be your host. For this episode, I'm very excited to sit down with Luna's social media manager, Nela, and delve into her job, responsibilities, and she'll even be giving us some of her favorite tips when it comes to social media marketing strategies. So be sure to listen to the end to hear it from a pro. So Nela, welcome.
Hello.
How are
Hello.
you doing
Very
today?
good to be here. Very good to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been looking forward to this all week, actually. I think it's something that we can really relate on. So it's nice to have this conversation.
Definitely. I'm ready.
All right, awesome. So before I let you to introduce yourself a bit more and give us a bit more on your background, I have a icebreaker. I think I'm going to start doing these from now on, just to I don't know, put
At
ease
the
into the
mood.
air. And I thought I would make it social media related because, why not? So my icebreaker for you is, if you could meet any one of the people you follow on Twitter for a coffee and conversation, who would it be and why?
Oh, wow. Well, I think related to the latest news of the acquisition of Twitter, probably Elon Musk.
Oh, I
Um,
knew it. I knew you'd say that.
I mean, it had to be him. I would love to interview him and pick his mind on what he wants to do now that he has most of the shares of Twitter and how he plans on developing it. So it
it's
would be great.
That's a really, really good answer. And it's really, really promising news. I'm really excited for it personally. I think there's a lot of work that needs to go into Twitter to make it great again, let's say.
Yes.
So yeah, really excited to see where that goes. Awesome answer. Okay, so yes, why don't you introduce yourself a bit? Give us a little bit about you and your background.
Of course. Everyone knows me by my short name, Nela, but my long name would be Vanilla Bellovoda. I am Albanian, and I have been working for Lunar now for quite some time as a social media manager. I used to work as a social media manager for quite some years before joining Lunar, but I also have switched careers because I have studied psychology.
Love that.
So my major and my master's were in psychology and organizational psychology, respectively. And then I also decided that it seemed like I loved marketing in general. So, and I apparently thought I was good at it. So I gave it a shot and also had a master's for marketing and PR and communication. So that's why I'm here.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it was more just you enjoying it, kind of following a passion of yours, which is fantastic. I
Yeah.
don't think enough people do that. It's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people, they'll do a degree or a master's and they think, damn, I've got to now stick to this because I've spent, 4 to 7 years doing this and I
Mm-hmm.
can't now let it go. But the reality is, we change, we grow, and I think in the long run, to be happy and enjoy what we're doing, we really should be following our passions, and our minds change, and that's okay.
True. True.
Yeah, so that's awesome. So tell us what your job entails as a social media manager, because I'm sure a lot of people out there would literally think it's about scrolling through TikTok and Instagram all day. But that's not the truth. So do you want to tell us a bit of what it entails, your day-to-day kind of activities?
I wish it was that easy that I would be scrolling all day. I think I only do that after work when I actually am uh, decompressing from work. But truthfully, it's a kind of job that you cannot really say that one social media manager does all of these things or does half of these things, because it depends on industry and it depends on a lot of issues. But in this case, my job does have to do with every sort of process for social media, starting from creating a strategy for a project to keeping up with the brand communication and transferring it to the socials, trying to keep up a great presence on social media in most of the platforms, especially on Twitter, because we know that crypto is really heavily focused on delivering their updates on Twitter, and then continuing with imagery. I'm not a designer, but Canva does some work for me. So
you do a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. And well, at the moment, I really can think a lot of stuff, but basically it's trying to have a strategy in mind and focus that towards an audience in social media, and trying to make the audience understand it, engage with it, and possibly, be hooked by it. Be basically acquisition in the end is the objective of every project. So hopefully that's what it does.
Absolutely. Oh, that's a fantastic answer. And what would you say you enjoy most about that whole process?
Honestly, I would say content creation for me is my top priority in general when I create, when I have a project in my hands, because I think that it is very important to focus a lot on creating not only imagery, but also copies or captions that really attract audiences. So that's something that I'm really, really passionate about. So
yeah, I enjoy it too. It's like creating this like new language, isn't it? And creating these stories and then getting them across. It's a lot of fun. I know something that we've spoken about recently, and you brought up that it can be a somewhat lonely job. Do you want to go into what you mean by that? Because I think that was such a fantastic point you mentioned. And
so lonely would not be in a very negative sense. Quite the contrary. It would mean that you are basically a person that has to be able to be technologically savvy, at the same time be creative. So it's what we've discussed before is basically you're trying to make both of your brain's hemispheres connect with each other all the time and communicate with each other all the time in order to create something which is at the same time creative and at the same time can work for multiple platforms, because it's not just Twitter out there. There's Facebook, Instagram, there's Reddit, there's there's plenty of platforms. TikTok, of course, has its own way of content creating, and it's basically a lot of things that when you would want someone else to help you, you would have to explain a lot more rather than just it would be much easier for you to do it yourself, let's say, rather than get help. So in that sense,
like taking your brain out and like putting it on the table to show them. That's literally like how I saw it when you said it.
Definitely. Yes.
Whoa, I've got some crazy thunder going on right now. Jeez. Really crazy weather here in England. Well, that's England for you,
Yeah.
So another thing that I wanted to talk about, which I think is really, really, really important to mention, and that's the whole no guarantee with the results. It's more that it's the work and consistency, as we've mentioned, that can be promised. Do you want to delve a bit into that and maybe shine a bit of light on that? Because again, it's something that I think we as individuals in social media marketing realize that maybe it's just not very understood.
True, very, very true. When it comes to content on social media, unfortunately, a lot of people think that just by you creating a piece of content, it will immediately become viral. And that's definitely not the case, because what makes a piece of content viral, it can be anything. Mostly memes, of course, today. That's what really is making the internet go crazy, with the explosion of memes everywhere. But
especially if Will Smith's involved.
Also, most of the times, when people make mistakes, that's what also becomes viral. So sometimes I do suggest to clients to, so we don't have to be precise in this industry. Sometimes we can make mistakes, and that's what gets us noticed in the first place. And it's the way you handle it afterwards that really can make or break a brand in the end. So fantastic. It's all about that, and also about the fact that like I mentioned before, we start with the strategy, and the strategy doesn't mean that you create some content and it immediately goes boom. Even you can make all the ads in the world, and in the end it will still not be exactly where you want it to be, because that needs time. Results need time and consistency, and not even 1 month, not even 3 months, sometimes not even 6 months may get you to where you want to be. But that doesn't mean that you should give up. You should exactly do what you've been doing, only taking up a notch every single time that you think that you can handle it as a project. And that's basically it.
That's such wonderful advice. Absolutely. And just going back to your point of making mistakes, I guess a great example of that is hodl. The word hodl itself, which came from a misspelling of hold. And I think, there you go. It's just one of the most prime examples of, just almost not being so, this has to
rigid.
Be. Yes, that's such a great, perfect word there. Yeah, absolutely. Really good point. Is there anything else that you think you wish people knew about social media marketing?
Yeah, exactly. I just hope they understand that it's a very, very important job when it comes to projects, because it can really, really help projects in general. Especially in the crypto world today, all we see is engagement with community. Engagement with community is essential. And if the social media presence isn't there, unfortunately, it might go somewhere, but it won't make it in the long term. And what really we know now is that, okay, you made it up to a certain point and you were successful. But if you want to keep doing what you're doing and make it even bigger, you need to understand that you want to be there for a long term. So that's the goal, essentially. And that's something that each project should choose to invest.
Absolutely. It's, if we like it or not, social media is not going anywhere.
True.
Yeah. Okay, so as I mentioned at the start, I'd like to grab some of your best tips for a good social media strategy. What would you highlight as the most important things for someone who is maybe starting their own NFT or crypto project? What would you throw out there? Nothing too juicy. We have to keep the secrets to ourselves.
Of course, I mean, never spilling the secret. I would probably say that research is key to every strategy. You have to know which other projects are your direct competitors. You have to understand what the others are doing and what you could do differently as a project. Marketing wise, in every aspect, not only on social media, I think, but if you have a clear understanding of what your project is about. I was listening to a Gary Vee podcast or interview. I can't remember now, and he was basically saying what he keeps repeating now on every channel that he speaks. He was basically saying that 99% of the projects are not going to make it. They're going to fail, and only that 1% will make it. And the reason why it makes it, they try for a long time and they hit only once. But it's the brands that are making it most than any other projects. So so for each project that is new and wants to make it, what they need to understand is that it's not about the promise of the profit, because that's what every project is essentially. Instead, try to promise, okay, profit is going to happen, but what we are going to do is have a fantastic community, engaging with this fantastic community, and basically bringing out some values that only you as a project can bring and transform it into a brand while you're doing all the work that you're doing. So that would be my advice, yes.
Wonderful advice. Wow. Everyone listening to this is in for a treat. Oh, Nela, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this episode. It's been so nice to speak to you. And I'm sure we'll do another one soon.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Julieta.
So everyone that's listening, thank you for listening. And if you want more information on Lunar Strategy, please visit our website, lunarstrategy.com. Sign up to our newsletter. You can be updated with everything that's going down, and you can learn more about NFTs, crypto, and marketing on our blogs page. And do drop us a follow on Twitter. Say hey, we're super friendly. And please subscribe to the podcast and leave us a rating if you enjoyed it. It really, really helps us out. And we'll see you next time.